and watch a lot of sports and play games and drink and whatever we do to kind of dull the senses. And that's what they want us to do. They want us to not know this information, because if we actually study this material and we become aware, as that woman said, that in itself is empowering.
Right.
You feel better to know what the truth is, and you become more informed. And if once we start knowing what the truth is, we're able to make decisions. And I mean, I do think it is at least a democratic structure, if not a fully functioning democracy, and we're less able to be manipulated.
Right.
And then we can make intelligent decisions.
Yeah, we can actually use the power that we have, because right now we let the power use us. And we're so quick to say, oh, no, nobody would mess with our elections. Oh, just get over it, move on. I hate that. I hate when people say that. We shouldn't get over it. We should focus. We should make sure that we understand what's going on. We should investigate. We should call people to account for things. We should respect the idea that there should be justice in this world, and not just let the biggest criminals of all get away with it. That's just my opinion. 808810 is the telephone number. Let's go to Steve. Steve's calling from Sunnyvale. Steve, hi. Welcome to KGO. You're on with Russ Baker. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Baker. I wanted to ask you, there was a guy who wrote a book, and he committed suicide supposedly in Denver right during the election of George W. Bush, and the book was about, one of the main things in the book was about George Bush's girlfriend that had an abortion in Mexico, and her three friends were in the book, and they told all these things about it. And the book was not published in America. Well, it was published, but what happened, they pulled it off all the shelves, and it was published in Canada. And then the guy committed suicide, like several people at Enron, by the way, which are a lot of suicides there too. It was very interesting.
Was this the book that exposed his involvement with cocaine?
Absolutely.
Do you know anything about that, Russ?
Well, I mean, this sounds like a little bit of a conflation of different elements. There was a man named Hatfield who wrote a book called Fortunate Son.
Right.
He did apparently commit suicide. He's a complicated figure because it came out that he had, and I presume this to be true, this seems to be true, that he had a past with some criminal activity. He'd gone to jail for soliciting someone to murder someone and so forth. So I'm not sure he was sort of the ideal candidate to write an expose about the Bush family.
Right, but sometimes it has to be a criminal to write about a criminal.
Okay.
They know one another.
Yeah.
It's a family of secrets. 808810, the number. Let's go to CJ. CJ's calling from Oakland. CJ, hi, welcome to KGO. You're on with Russ Baker. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm sorry, I just turned on within the last half an hour, and this is so exciting.
Well, that's okay. We have a lot more to talk about. You just keep tuned in.
Absolutely, and after being in the military, this question, I feel the military is in control of our government, and I feel that Bush Sr. is still in charge, and I feel that the profile of Clinton and President Obama, I feel that their profiles are similar, and they're because you see how they put Carter out of the picture totally.
Well, that's true.
I sound a little crazy, I know, but
no, you don't sound crazy.
It really does make me. Those are the feelings that I get, and so I'm asking your
CJ,
guest.
let me tell you something. You have never sounded crazy.
Thank you. So I'm asking your guest. Who's in charge of our government? Because the people are not.
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, if you look at it in a reasonably objective way, you would say if the big policies never change, irrespective of what party's in power, you do have to wonder who's in charge.
Yeah.
Certainly, there is no question that the assumptions we make about the military, and I note you said you were in the military, cannot be questioned. That the policies that have been laid out under previous administrations are generally being continued. The assumptions are all in place. The defense budget is massive.
Huge.
And by the way, our whole economy, the American economy, is so threaded in with the military.
Right.
We have no idea. every company that makes practically everything, I don't care what it is, even things you don't think of as military things, even civilian products, clothing and music systems and so on, their biggest clients are the military. You know that because you know there are millions of people in uniform and they buy things. There's a huge amount of money spent there. And so there's this tremendous gaping maw that needs to be fed all the time. So I don't know who's in charge, but I will say that the military, the defense contractors, this huge unaccountable defense apparatus, the banking interests, the resource extraction interests, including but not limited to oil, all of these elements are very, very influential in shaping the trajectory of this country.
You know, a lot of people who call themselves progressives were disappointed in the first year of the Obama administration because there were so many things about him during the campaign, especially the early parts of the campaign, where he seemed to embrace things that we really wanted him to accomplish, and then he seemed to be compromising himself away, like right from the start, compromising before he even got anywhere. We were very disappointed, especially in things like universal health care. Do you think that maybe he just got in and the facts were laid out before him, that he really didn't have all the power he thought he did?
I wonder if he could have been that naive not to be aware of the limitations upon the office of the president.
Remember, he was a junior senator.
Yeah, I mean, he actually had very little experience in Washington.
Very little, yeah.
And this is something people don't think about, that he really was not, he was obviously a skillful politician, an intelligent man, well-spoken and so on, but he really wasn't prepared to get into this situation. And, you know, it's interesting, if you look historically, I wrote an essay called What Obama is Up Against, and it was about what has happened to all of these presidents. Every president, you go all the way back through American history, but let's start with, let's say, FDR. There was an attempted coup d'etat against him using the military. A Wall Street interest recruited General Smedley Butler. In fact, David Talbot, who's here from San Francisco, has got a book coming out at some point on Butler. And, he was recruited. He was the commandant of the Marine Corps. He was recruited to lead this coup, and he instead went and he testified before the Senate about this. This is forgotten history. That Truman had his hand forced, as I said earlier, on the creation of the CIA. Eisenhower, himself a general, ends up giving this speech warning about the military-industrial complex.
Right.
Kennedy's at war with these people. He's assassinated. Johnson goes along with these guys. Nixon, we're going to talk about. Jimmy Carter is kept to one term in office. Bill Clinton faces this devastating sexual scandal that debilitates his ability to do other things. So there are a lot of things going on here, and presidents can't do just whatever they want.
808810 is the telephone number, 808-0810. Russ Baker is my guest. His book is Family of Secrets, and right now it's time for us to check in with George Acevedo. He joins us in the KGO radio newsroom with this news update. Morning, George.
Good morning, Pat. This is